September 11th attacks leaving a deep wound in America. And now, many in the intelligence community believe the attacks might have been part of a bigger scheme on the part of Osama bin Laden. Joining us now is Giles Wollenmann, a European counterterrorism intelligence officer. Thank you, sir, for being with us.
Good morning to you.
If Osama bin Laden has a bigger plan, what is it?
I think that Osama bin Laden is trying to draw America into a conflict which will probably unite the Arab world in such a way it has never been united before. And pushing the right buttons by blowing up these buildings has been exactly what he wanted. America has united in such a way as to really create a situation which might lead to a jihad. And this is exactly what these people want.
So what can we do then to make sure he doesn't get what he wants? Is this coalition building that the president has been doing, will that do the trick?
Well, basically, we've reacted exactly as he has wanted us to do. This terrorist act has been a massive, massive shock around the world and has united other countries in a coalition attempt against terrorism. It's a little late now to discuss what we should be doing. We have actually done it. We have actually gone into the field by deliberately saying around the world we will crack down on terrorism and use any means possible to do so.
Right, but hasn't the president gone out of his way, especially in the past week, not to cast this as any sort of crusade, not to cast this as a religious conflict?
He has indeed, but we are not dealing with people who are thinking quite rationally about this. We are dealing with Islamic fundamentalism, and these people are actually itching for an excuse to join in a jihad against what they see the West as being the great Satan. And I think bin Laden's plan has actually worked to a certain extent. Already we see in Pakistan, at least 60 to 65% of the people are against Musharraf's option of letting the United States use their airspace in any eventual conflict against the Taliban.
And Pakistan has nuclear weapons. What might that mean?
Well, this is the thing. All eyes are looking at Baghdad and their chemical production, but I think that is not where the danger will come from. Pakistan has what they call in their own terms the Islamic bomb. And I think the master plan of one of the master plans of bin Laden was to create a coalition by having such an act of terror in this country, which would eventually cause an uprising of Islamic people, which might decentralize and topple the government of Musharraf, giving another person in that country access to nuclear yields. It's quite a sinister thought.
It is a sinister thought. It's very frightening. Just a moment ago, we were looking at Pakistan's nuclear testing site, but over the weekend anyway, it seems that some of the anti-government protests in Pakistan didn't turn out to be as big as some had predicted. Is there any hope to be taken from that?
I should hope so, because I could not foresee the tragic or disastrous events should an extremist government take over by a coup d'etat. And we mustn't forget that Musharraf actually came to power in a similar way. However bloodless, he did come into power that way. And to overthrow him and have an extremist on that particular power throne with nuclear yields would be quite a frightening thought. So the still in the fact that the people are more or less balancing their views out as to counter this terrorism is positive in my view.
What do you think the best thing is for the United States to do to make sure that we have a firm coalition and to head off any future terrorist attacks if there is a big retaliatory strike?
I think actually the United States should play down their involvement in any counter-strikes which they might have against, amongst others, the Taliban, and support any Islamic organization which would be against them in arms, intelligence, and even potentially financially, because the Islamic world will be watching very, very closely America's intervention in the field in the next few weeks or months. So America, in many intelligence communities' views, should actually downplay their military force in this aspect and support Islamic groups, especially the Union of the North, who are fighting the Taliban at this particular moment.
Mr. Wollenmann, thank you very much for your time this morning.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
And straight ahead, the Taliban government making huge demands on the U.S. in exchange for removing the threat of terrorism. Coming up, we'll tell you what they're asking. Also, a lot of New Yorkers want Mayor Rudolph Giuliani to extend his term. But what does Rudy want? A live update on that straight ahead as well.